in the quiet, tree-lined neighborhoods of Akron, Ohio, where the hum of everyday life echoes. Maya. Danielle Reynolds was only 37 years old, vibrant, full of plans, and just 2 weeks past her birthday, when her bright future was violently extinguished on November 2nd, 2020. Her sister and brother-in-law, hearts pounding with growing dread after a day of unanswered calls, walked into her home and found her lifeless body. She had been shot 3 times. There were no signs of forced entry, no evidence of a struggle, and no immediate clues, screaming for attention. 5 long years later, as the seasons have turned and the city has moved forward in its quiet rhythm, her killer has never been caught. The case remains cold, a shadow lingering over Akron's streets. This is the story of Maya Danielle Reynolds, a woman whose name still brings tears to the eyes of everyone who knew her. To this day, those closest to her ask the same heartbreaking, unanswerable question that haunts every unsolved murder: why would anyone kill Maya? She was not the type of person who invited danger. She was the one who created safety for others. She was the one who poured her heart into the next generation. She was, by all accounts, the last person anyone would ever expect to become the victim of such a senseless, intimate act of violence. Maya grew up surrounded by the warmth and strength of a close-knit family in Akron. From her earliest years, she was driven by a quiet determination and a deep love for learning. Those who remember her as a child describe a girl who was always organizing neighborhood games, reading stories to younger cousins, and dreaming big about how she could make the world a better place. Her family instilled in her the values of faith, education, and community service. Church was not just a Sunday ritual, it was the heartbeat of their lives. Maya carried that faith with her through every chapter, letting it guide her choices and fuel her ambitions. Her educational journey was nothing short of inspiring. She earned her bachelor's degree in early childhood development from the prestigious Ohio State University, where she immersed herself in studies that would later define her life's work. Friends from those years recall Maya as the student who stayed late in the library, not just to ace exams, but because she genuinely wanted to understand the best ways to nurture young minds. She didn't stop there. She went on to complete her master's degree in education at Kent State University, balancing rigorous coursework with part-time jobs and volunteer work. Every late night, every research paper, every classroom observation was building towards something greater. Maya wasn't just studying to get a degree, she was preparing to change lives. In 2012, that preparation turned into reality. With passion and perseverance, Maya opened the Recess Child Development Center in Columbus, Ohio. It was more than a daycare, it was a sanctuary. Brightly colored walls, laughter-filled play areas, and carefully planned learning activities created a space where little ones felt safe, valued, and excited to grow. Parents trusted Maya with their most precious gifts because she treated every child as her own. She poured everything she had into that center: long hours, creative curriculum ideas, and a personal touch that made each family feel seen. The Recess Child Development Center quickly became known as a place where children didn't just learn ABCs and 123s, they learned confidence, kindness, and the joy of discovery. But Maya's heart always pulled her back home to Akron. Family was everything to her. In 2019, she made the decision to move back to be closer to her loved ones. The plan was clear and exciting: open a second Recess Child Development Center right there in Akron. While she searched for the perfect building, a space that could accommodate even more children and expand her vision, she turned her own newly purchased house into a small, intimate daycare. Parents dropped off their kids each morning knowing they were leaving them in the care of a woman who genuinely loved what she did. Maya's home daycare wasn't just a temporary solution, it was an extension of her bigger dream, a living proof of her commitment to the community she cherished. She wasn't defined by work alone. Maya was a founding member of the Young Black Professionals Coalition, an organization that became a beacon of hope for young people in Akron. Through scholarships for high school students and mentorship programs for young adults, the coalition helped bridge gaps and open doors. Maya didn't just attend meetings, she showed up with ideas, with resources, and with that warm, encouraging smile that made everyone feel capable of greatness. She believed in lifting others up, in paying forward the opportunities she had fought for. Beyond her professional and volunteer life, Maya loved to travel. She explored new cities, soaked in different cultures, and returned home with stories that lit up family dinners. She cherished quiet moments with friends and relatives, barbecues in the backyard, game nights filled with laughter, and deep conversations about life and faith. Those who knew her paint a consistent picture: Maya was warm, accomplished, generous, and deeply rooted in her values. She was the friend who remembered birthdays, the mentor who stayed in touch long after the program ended, the woman who made everyone around her feel a little brighter. In the years since her death, one sentiment echoes louder than any other from everyone who crossed paths with her. Maya was the absolute last person anyone would expect to become the victim of murder. She lived a life of purpose, of service, of quiet strength. Violence seemed not just foreign to her world, it seemed impossible. Yet, on the evening of October 31st, 2020, Halloween night, the ordinary rhythm of Maya's life took a turn that no one could have predicted. She spent part of the evening at her father's house, gathered with family, watching the Ohio State versus Penn State football game. The atmosphere was light, filled with the familiar excitement of college football season. At some point during the night, Maya received a phone call. Without much explanation, she left to meet a friend. No one thought twice about it at the time. She was a grown woman, independent, and entitled to her private life. The next morning, at 1:15 a.m. on November 1st, her sister Latrice spoke with her on the phone. Latrice would later recall that Maya sounded completely normal, relaxed, maybe a little tired from the evening, but herself. They chatted briefly, the kind of easy conversation sisters share. It was the last time anyone in the family heard Maya's voice. A full day passed in silence. By the afternoon of November 2nd, worry had settled heavily on Latrice and her husband. Something felt wrong. They drove to Maya's house, their minds racing with every possible innocent explanation. The back door was unlocked. That alone sent a chill through them. They stepped inside, calling Maya's name softly at first, then with increasing urgency. They made their way upstairs. There, across her bed, they found her. Maya was wearing only a green towel, as if she had just stepped out of the shower or was getting ready for bed. Her feet hung off the edge of the mattress. In one hand, she still clutched her cell phone. In the other, a red Solo cup. She had been shot 3 times with a small caliber handgun. The medical examiner would later determine she had been dead for at least a full day. The scene was hauntingly calm, no broken windows, no overturned furniture, no obvious signs of a struggle. It looked almost peaceful, except for the horror of what had happened. Her purse was missing, yet other valuables in the house remained untouched. It did not look like a robbery gone wrong. It looked deeply, intimately personal. As investigators combed through the house and Maya's phone, they uncovered a text message that has become one of the most puzzling and chilling pieces of the entire case. Sent to an unknown male friend, it read, "I opened the door for a stranger in my towel because I thought it was you, LOL." The message has raised endless questions. No one knows exactly when it was sent. Hours before her death? Days? The exact timing has never been publicly released. Latrice has been vocal about her deep doubts. She insists her sister would never have sent that text without telling her about it first. More than that, Maya simply never used the abbreviation LOL. It wasn't her style, not the way she communicated. The message feels completely out of character. Latrice has openly wondered if someone else sent it from Maya's phone after she was already dead, an attempt perhaps to mislead investigators or to cast suspicion in the wrong direction. The timeline only deepens the mystery and the heartbreak. Maya had returned to Akron in 2019 seeking the comfort of family. She celebrated her 37th birthday on October 23rd, 2020, surrounded by love and plans for the future. She was actively dating a private woman who kept certain details of her romantic life to herself. Police have confirmed they thoroughly investigated both a former fiancé and a current boyfriend. Both men cooperated fully with authorities and were eventually cleared. But the Halloween phone call, the late night meeting, and that mysterious text all hint that Maya may have been seeing more than one person. She was independent, grown, and had every right to her privacy, even from those closest to her. Yet that same privacy now leaves behind a shadow of unanswered questions that refuse to fade. Why did she leave her father's house after that phone call? Who was she meeting? When she returned home and spoke with Latrice at 1:15 a.m., did she mention anything about her evening? According to Latrice, no. Maya simply sounded like herself. Normal, calm, unchanged. But somewhere in those early morning hours, everything changed. She was found relaxed on her bed, in nothing but a towel, holding a drink and her phone. The positioning of her body suggests she was not afraid. She was not running. She was not fighting for her life. Whoever pulled the trigger was someone she trusted enough to let into her home, someone she felt safe with even in that vulnerable state. The back door left unlocked adds yet another layer of intrigue. Maya ran a daycare out of that very house. Parents and children came and went regularly. She was accustomed to answering the door at all hours, but opening it late at night or in the early morning while wearing only a towel implies she believed the visitor was expected, someone familiar, someone she had perhaps just spent part of Halloween evening with. If the text message truly came from Maya, it suggests she thought the person at the door was the very man she had messaged. If it was sent by someone else, it may have been a deliberate attempt to confuse the investigation. 3 shots, not one panicked bullet, not a frenzied attack, but 3 deliberate rounds from a small caliber weapon. No shell casings were recovered at the scene. The killer may have used a revolver, or they may have carefully picked up the brass before slipping away. The purse was taken, perhaps to stage a robbery or because it contained something the killer desperately needed to hide. Maybe even Maya's own handgun for protection. We may never know the full truth. What we do know is that the crime felt intimate, calculated, and executed by someone who knew the house, knew Maya's routines, and knew how to leave without drawing immediate attention. The killer walked in, or was let in, ended her life, and walked out the back door, leaving it unlocked behind them like a final, mocking signature. Maya's family and friends were left reeling in unimaginable grief. Her sister Latrice has spoken publicly about the relentless pain of not knowing, of waking up every day with the same unanswered questions. She has questioned the text message, the unknown male friend, and the gaps in the timeline that investigators have never fully explained to the public. The case has remained largely quiet in the media. Few details have been released beyond the basics. That silence is common in active investigations, but for a family waiting 5 long, agonizing years, it feels like an eternity of suspended hope. Maya Reynolds was not the kind of woman who made enemies. She built daycares that nurtured children. She mentored young adults who went on to chase their own dreams. She gave back to her community in ways both big and small. She was the person parents trusted with their babies and toddlers. The idea that someone she knew, someone she felt safe enough to sit with in a towel, holding a casual drink and scrolling on her phone, would turn a gun on her and fire 3 times is almost impossible to accept.